All right, YouTube. So, I want to go ahead and talk about Mueller again because I made a video about Mueller talking about how I was kind of making fun of it, making fun of him rather, that he's going through Trump's old tweets about Jeff Sessions to try and find some incriminating evidence that implicates him somehow in some kind of a conspiracy or obstruction of justice charges. So, it's not going to happen. And the fact that Cohen is now willing to work with Mueller, I look at it like, just being being one of the guys I think that understands the 4D chess. I thought this immediately. I figured it out immediately with Sam Nunberg when he was doing his media rounds. It was clearly like a very elaborate play in a way. I mean, it was a performance that Sam Nunberg gave that day, and I'm not saying that Michael Cohen is doing the same thing, like performance-wise. I'm just saying that it's possibly the same type of strategy. They're making Cohen and Trump are basically making their rivalry or their feud very public, and I feel like they're doing that for a reason. It's not like something that just got out into the open and now everybody's reporting on it. It's something that they pretty much, I feel like, are meticulously planning. And essentially, I find there's nothing there. There's no Russian collusion, and the closest thing that there is to Russian collusion, and it's not even that, it's by far worse, is Hillary Clinton and Uranium One, and her giving up 20% of our uranium supply up to this Canadian company, which then shipped it to a Kremlin-backed company, or Kremlin front, essentially. And it's funny how they never talk about that. They never talk about Hillary Clinton and Uranium One. And it's not even just her. It's also, the whole entire Obama administration. All those folks, the entire Obama cabinet, they're all criminals. And actual criminals, like they're murderers, essentially. Just with all the drone strikes and the, heightened troop presence up in Iraq and Afghanistan. The whole thing, the whole presidency of Obama just had, tons of crime left and right. And even beyond that, even if they didn't commit a single crime, they were still guilty of sowing racial division, And I noticed this like about a little too late, actually, after I voted for Obama in the second term. And not that my vote necessarily counted, but, looking back at it, like after I voted for him and I started to do my homework, I realized what a, shitty president he is, and kind of a shitty person at that. Just seems like a very condescending fool, But so that seems to be the only collusion there is. Mueller's obviously not going to go after Clinton because she's part of the establishment. Mueller's the same guy. Oh, he's also a member of Skull and Crossbones, if you didn't know that. Which is interesting because Stephen Mnuchin is also a member. Wilbur Ross, all members of Skull and Bones. Maybe there's something there. Maybe there's a conspiracy theory there. Actually, I have an idea about that. I'll talk about that a little later. Not that I think it's true. It's just an idea. Mueller is essentially a establishment stooge. He is the same guy who blocked the victims' families from 9/11 from suing the Saudi Arabian government, and basically for having people allegedly come from there who were on the plane that crashed into the towers and then into the field and Pentagon and everything, allegedly. But that sounds like something he would do, That's probably unfair for me to say. I'm not saying he's guilty of it. I'm just saying, yeah, he's probably did something like that, It sounds believable. And also, Mueller is basically butt buddies with Comey. I mean, they've best buddies, I guess, They essentially were, neck and neck, and they're arm in arm, hand in hand together in the FBI together. So, it's just a big bowl of wrong, folks, And I'm pretty new to this whole scene. I'm still figuring things out, but for the most part, it sounds like, all these establishment types are very, very bad people, But, yeah. There's nothing there. I mean, I think if anything, Michael Cohen's probably going to go in there and basically just spread disinformation. He's he's basically going to destroy his credibility as a witness, essentially, which is, I think, the whole point. He wants to essentially take Trump's side, which he's doing. It's the same thing that Sam Nunberg did too. They were both agents of Trump, and they were. I mean, Nunberg was definitely successful in basically destroying his credibility as a witness. But also, same with Michael Cohen. I think he's going to do the same thing. But I think he's going to drag it out. Like, he's going to give them seemingly believable information, and it's going to turn out to be complete bullshit. And Mueller's going to be basically like, well, what the fuck? I was basically examining this guy for months, and now talking about Cohen, and even more months added to the whole entire investigation. It's just going to look bad. And Mueller, I don't think, is ever going to come out and say, like, oh, I fucked up. I initially started this investigation to go after Manafort, but then decided to say, oh, let's go ahead and wrap Trump into it. Let's see if we can find a crime that's tied with him, rather than finding the crime first and then finding these a suspect. It doesn't work that way. You can't look at someone and say, oh, let's see what they've done wrong. No, you have to be witness to their crime because they're innocent until proven guilty. You're basically saying, like, oh, Trump is already guilty of collusion. That seems to be the national perception of it, and simply because he's under investigation. It's essentially, and the media is not doing anything to help this. Even Fox News is saying that there's a slight possibility that Trump is colluding with the Russians. Like, obviously Shep Smith says that. Obviously Chris Wallace alludes to it. But even some of the trustworthy guys and I'm not talking about like Tucker or Hannity or any of those guys, but like, somewhere in the middle, like there are anchors. I mean, there's analysts and shit. And I'm referring to the fact that when like Newt Gingrich and there are some other neocon D-bag that was like saying, oh, he wasn't tough enough on Putin. It's like, who gives a shit? We're trying to establish a friendship with this guy. We're not going to like lambast him on stage. That's bullshit. And that question that reporter asked was just stupid. Like, are you ready to admit that? Are you ready to confront Putin? That or what was it? Like, I think he was asking Putin, like, did you instruct Trump to, or did you instruct people to help Trump win? Like, somewhere along the lines of that. The whole thing is just ridiculous. It really is. It's really just, it's a big bowl of wrong. I don't know where I was going with this, but. Yeah, basically, so anyways, going back to Manafort, I guess that's who it really begins with. He's the one who is ultimately in jail now, a prison, actually, federal penitentiary. And he's essentially in jail for the same crime that all these other people, all these 6 Democrats that were granted immunity. It's total partisan hackery. That's what it is, The Podesta brothers are getting away with what they're getting away with. They are, just all the bad guys seem to be winning at the moment, but let's go ahead and be patient about it. I'm being patient, at least, about it. I think that we should at least respect the idea of 4D chess, or maybe at least meme harder. I mean, I try to shitpost and everything, I try to do my part about 4D chess and then Trump 2020 and all that shit, but we got to do it again, folks. I mean, I know the election's kind of down the road, but still, we got the midterms coming up. We could use that as practice, We could totally use that as practice, for sure, man. Fuck yeah. What else? Yeah, Manafort's in prison. He obviously committed a crime. Did he do something evil? I don't know. I guess that's kind of up to the public to decide. But listen, the public usually listens to the media, unfortunately. The public always listens to the media as if it's truthful, and you just have to realize that agencies like CBS, that's the video that's going to be in the description below. I'm going to go troll some MSNBC videos after this, but still, you got to look at it this way. These are propaganda outlets. They're going to spew nothing but propaganda, and there's really not much else to say about it, except, this whole Cohen thing is just going to be disinformation to throw Mueller off his tracks, essentially. And throwing Mueller off his tracks to find, or to, essentially find a crime that doesn't exist, The only thing Trump's guilty of is having a bad tan. That's the only thing he's guilty of, And maybe having kind of a shitty hairstyle. But hey, he's a leader. He can't go up there bald. I understand that. But whatever, who cares? That's all the left got. That's all the left has. They can, comment about his toupee and his orange skin. That's all. And, the size of his member. That's fucking stupid, guys. You guys got to step your game up. All right, peace out.